Medicare for All is comprehensive. It covers all health care needs for senior citizens. It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know.
Second of all,
you don't know that,
second
Bernie.
of all,
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know, and
Congressman.
I wrote the damn bill.
You know, I hear it every day. I hear it on the media. I hear it from my opponents. Bernie is an extremist. Bernie is too radical. Okay, let's deal with it. Is raising a starvation minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, which has not been raised in 10 years, to $15 an hour, a living wage, a radical idea? No. Is making public colleges and universities tuition free so that all of our people have the opportunity to get a higher education in a competitive global economy, is that a radical idea? No. Is passing a Medicare for All single-payer system a radical idea?
No. I get a little bit tired of Democrats afraid of big ideas. Republicans are not afraid of big ideas. They could give $1 trillion in tax breaks to billionaires and profitable corporations. They could bail out the crooks on Wall Street. So please don't tell me that we cannot take on the fossil fuel industry, and nothing happens unless we do that.
I just don't think any of those ideas are radical.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and the Bernie Sanders campaign was more than just a political movement. It was a wave of excitement that swept across a divided nation. Sanders energized the youth of America with his bold, progressive ideas that promised an economy for everyone, not just the wealthy elite. When Bernie lost the nomination, first to Hillary Clinton and then to Joe Biden, it felt like the last chance for real, meaningful change had slipped away. Even though Bernie urged his supporters not to give up and not to despair, the fight for progressive reform seemed more daunting than ever. But the memory of those rallies, the hope for a brighter future, and even the little bird that famously landed on his podium remained vivid. That moment, when it seemed like the universe was on his side, symbolized the love and excitement surrounding his campaign. It was a wonderful feeling. Now, imagine taking that excitement, those crowds, and that hope, and amplifying them for the Harris-Walz campaign. Who, you may ask, is leading this wave of progressive excitement? None other than Kamala Harris's pick for vice president, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Don't you know?
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. Don't give them the power. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. These are weird ideas. Listen to them speak. Who's asking for this crazy stuff? We do not like what has happened where we can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with our uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary. They see the least fortunate among us as scapegoats and punchlines for them. Kamala Harris and Democrats see them as our neighbors. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing.
The Harris-Walz campaign is barreling across America like a freight train, filling packed arenas with a new generation of voters from every walk of life. It's a movement that has reignited the same hope we saw with Bernie Sanders, but with an even broader appeal. With each day that brings us closer to November, it certainly seems like this is our chance to continue the fight for the future that works for everyone, not just a few. This campaign isn't just drawing Democrats, it's attracting first-time voters and even Republicans who have soured on the idea of voting for a convicted felon, cheater, and lowlife. These are Republicans who once believed Trump would fight for them, but now have seen him take away their rights, likely sell national secrets and threaten to impose an authoritarian regime, drastically changing the face of this country and endangering everyone who lives in it.
Walz is being hit for his record that you just laid out there, a progressive one, as the governor of Minnesota. Senator Lindsey Graham tweeted earlier, Harris is feeling the burn and picks Walz. Thank you, Kamala. Governor Tim Walz is a dream for the radical left. And I wonder if his record as governor is going to be this attack line from Trump and his allies, how you think he should respond to that.
Well, I don't want to give Trump's people any advice, but I would suggest if they want to do that, they should read some of the polling. If Governor Walz believes, for example, that we should cut the price of prescription drugs in this country in half to what they are around the rest of the world, over 70% of the American people believe that. You want to attack him for being radical? I'll help pay for the ad.
I'll tell you about Governor Walz, what I see about him. I'm a complete independent. And when he won his first election as governor, Within 24 hours, he called me and set up a meeting with me to pick my brain. No other governor's ever done that, Republican or Democrat, but Tim Walz did. And what that showed me, Tim Walz is the kind of guy who's out for success. 20-some years ago, I tried to legalize cannabis marijuana. I lit the match. Well, the match simmered for 20 years and finally became a flame. And Governor Walz called me and he said, Governor Ventura, you need to be in my office Monday at 11. I'm going to sign into law ending the prohibition of marijuana in Minnesota. It was your idea. You're still alive. You should be there to take credit for this because you're the one who done it.
Democrats should be excited, and why wouldn't they be? Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, isn't just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. And how refreshing is that in a time when the 118th Congress, under Republican control, has devolved into a chaotic do-nothing scene? We're all sick and tired of their incompetence and constant obstruction. Enter Tim Walz, a doer, a go-getter, a leader who understands what America needs. Policies like free breakfast and lunch for kids, which Bernie Sanders once championed as radical, are now seen as common sense. Sanders' progressive policies resonated because they addressed the very real needs of everyday people, needs that the political establishment often ignored. For a while, it felt like the system was rigged against us, like we'd never have another voice as bold as Bernie's to speak out on these issues. Remember how Trump and his sycophants used the scare word socialism to fearmonger his base, a base filled with undereducated jackaloons fighting for the destruction of the Department of Education, of all things. Go figure.
I know Tim Walz. I've done a bunch of things with him. I like him. He's a folksy, likable, friendly person. He's a good communicator, as you've seen on the campaign trail. He's energetic. He gives a good speech. But the reality is he is a self-declared most progressive governor in the country, now combined with a senator who is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. Those two things represent the most progressive, some would say socialist, national ticket in the modern history, if not the history of the country. I don't know if the country's ready for that. I don't think they are. But the problem, of course, is their alternative is Donald Trump. But as to Governor Walz, he's basically, I like to call him Bernie Sanders in hunting gear. That kind of sums it up.
But here's the thing. The scare tactics, the lies, and the fear-mongering are losing their power. People are waking up to the reality that an economy that works for everyone isn't too much to ask for. The promise of equity and equality shouldn't be out of reach in our pursuit of happiness. We want a society where everyone can be who they are, love who they love, and send our children to school without fearing they won't come home due to gun violence. But Trump and the Republican Party say, yes, that's too much to ask. It doesn't fit into their Project 2025 manifesto, and it certainly doesn't align with their profit margins. But the tides are changing, and it's a blue tidal wave that's building momentum. Progressives, Democrats, and everyday working Americans should be excited about the possibilities ahead. We finally have progressive leaders like Tim Walz, who are not only ready to fight for us, but are actually getting things done.
Yeah, look, this guy's amazing. We've asked for a fighter on our side for as long as Young Turks has been around, 22 years. We've been looking for a fighter. But Bernie Sanders was great, but he wasn't really a fighter. And so if Bernie Sanders was a fighter, I think he could have won. And this guy's got the policies of Bernie Sanders, passed them in Minnesota, has the same kind of populist feel, but he's less cranky, more likable, more rural, more Midwestern, and most importantly, more of a fighter.
You've got to hand it to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. He's not just a fighter, he's a warrior. While Bernie Sanders may be the folk hero of progressives, Tim Walz is the gritty champion that we've been waiting for, willing to throw punches where they count. And let's face it, he's hit Donald Trump right where it hurts, his ego. Remember that time Trump tried to pull off the bizarre hairdo? Or when his orange spray tan looked like it was applied by a blindfolded intern? Yeah, pretty weird. And don't even get me started on those senile ramblings. Half the time, you can't tell if he's quoting Shakespeare or just lost in the fog of confusion. And then there's JD Vance and his eyeliner. The man's got a thing for smoky eyes that would make a raccoon jealous. Add in those creepy side-by-side comparisons of him without a beard next to serial killer John Wayne Gacy. Seriously, you'll never look at Vance the same way ever again. But here's the kicker. Tim Walz started this whole weird conversation. He's the one who put a spotlight on just how out of touch these guys really are. And it's driving Trump crazy because the label's stuck like glue. It's like trying to peel off a bumper sticker that's been bathing in the sun for years. It's not going to go anywhere. Tim Walz isn't afraid to call it like he sees it. And that's exactly the kind of leader that we need right now. It's about time someone punched them in the face. And Walz is just the guy to do it. First off, he's got a solid track record as Minnesota's governor. Walz has successfully passed legislation that genuinely makes a difference in people's lives. He's not just another politician throwing around empty promises. This guy actually delivers. What makes Tim Walz stand out? He's well-spoken, charismatic, and he's got the kind of straightforwardness that people love. And when he talks, you get the sense that he's not just playing the political game. He's actually there to win for the people. But there's more. Tim Walz and Bernie Sanders share many similarities in their progressive ideals. Yet what really sets Walz apart is his unique spark, his undeniable energy. He's not just a politician. He carries himself with the charisma of a beloved football coach. This is someone who knows how to motivate and lead. Walz has a dynamic presence, and he's ready to debate JD Vance if he can get off the couch. He's a proven progressive winner, too. It's clear that we're witnessing a team that brings a renewed sense of hope and energy to American politics. It's like having a responsible set of parents that finally comes home and puts the bratty orange toddler in timeout. This movement is unlike anything I've ever seen. We may actually get to see progressive reforms put in motion that will make all of our lives better. How can you not get excited about something like that? It's been a long time since we've had an opportunity to make a long-lasting change that will not only benefit us in a short term, but will make this country a better place for our children. Let's meet that challenge and create a better world for all of us. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.